We made it. We're in Roma. Roma, why did I say it back? We're in Rome. Oh, not them playing Alicia Keys in Italy. Okay, I had to turn that off because copyright. I made it to Italy. I'm so excited. I think, okay, I'm gonna be honest, and let me sit down actually. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, and this is gonna be like the solo girl honesty talk right now. I think I've always liked solo trips. First of all, we're in Rome. If you haven't seen it yet, I went to one of my really good friends from business school's wedding, Sophia. I don't know if you've seen her here on this channel. Oh, you did see her in my graduation vlog, actually. She got married in Florence, and so that was yesterday, and it was the most gorgeous wedding. I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be really hard for other people to top that wedding. I was joking, oh my god, my arms. I was joking that the only way I could top that wedding is if I got married in space. That's the bar she set. She had like this amazing cake. I had like 3 servings. That was the first time I've actually enjoyed the wedding cake. Shout out to everyone's wedding that I've been to. It wasn't even a cake, it was like a pastry. It had like the pastry shelling as like layers of the cake and then cream in between and then fruit on top, and we got to see them make the cake. They were basically like powdering it and like adding berries to it as a couple. It was really cute, and they had like fireworks in the back, but it was just so it was beautiful, and I enjoyed it so much. We danced. Surprisingly, I think it ended around like, we left the venue at 2 a.m. and I think, or a little after 2, and we went back into the city because the reception was outside of the city, and we went back into the city and everyone was like, let's go out, let's go out. And by the time we rolled into Florence, the streets were empty, and I just felt like the place wasn't going to be closed or open. There was like talk about it, the bar or the club they wanted to go to being closed. And so I made the executive decision to go home because I just knew I had to like get up early and eat before getting on the train, and I was worried I was going to be hungover. I'm not hungover. I think it's all the cake I ate. Anyways, that was just like a quick recap, and I definitely didn't do that justice. But I got on the train this morning, or actually, yeah, around noon from Firenze to Rome, and thank goodness it was a high speed. It was the Freccia Rossa. I'm gonna learn Italian, guys. That's a goal of mine now that this is my 3rd time in Rome. I felt kind of like dumb saying that to the receptionist downstairs when she was like, is this your first time? I'm like, that's my 3rd time. And like, I still am like, ciao, salve, buongiorno. Even though one of the owners of the bed and breakfast told his wife, he was like, oh, do you think she's Italian? Because I saw them at breakfast and I started with just like a buongiorno. But I started my journey down here. I was on the train. It's funny when you're a solo traveler and you're in a country where like you could be a local. I feel like people, I think that's one of the things about traveling by myself. If I travel with my friends, like we're chatting in English, and so like people automatically think, or just like start speaking to us in English. But if you're traveling solo and all you hit them with is a ciao or salve or buongiorno, they might think that like, oh, like you're Italian, and they start speaking to you in Italian and you're like, oh, actually no. But then in that little interaction, I'm like picking things up. I thought everyone said ciao, like ciao was just like hello, but on the train they were saying salve, and I was just like, what is that? Like, is he asking for my ticket? And I realized because I was in the premium class, like the premium like business class of the train, I think it was just kind of like, oh, it's like out of respect thing. And so then I started saying salve, but then I got off and like was going to the taxi, and the taxi hit me with a ciao, and I was just like buongiorno. But it's just like an interesting way to just see how people interact in a language. But I honestly was so excited to come here. And then a part of me was like, should I have just gone straight home? Because it's like expensive to just like continue traveling, given that like I need to start figuring out like job stuff. And I told myself once I get back, that's what we'll do. We'll hunker down and actually like do it. I have like no reservations. I literally have no plans. I'm just in Rome and that's all I planned, like my hotel. I picked a place specifically like kind of in more of a residential area. There's like a cool, I mean, people who are not Italian stay here, of course, like tourists, but it's not like super close to like the Colosseum and all those things. There's a neighborhood called Trastevere, which is also like pretty cool and hip, but I think like in the last few years it's starting to get a little bit touristy because people know that that's where you can get like authentic food and hang out with like locals, and so like more tourists are like finding their way down there, and that's where we stayed last time. And so I just wanted to get a different vibe of the city, and so I'm in this area. Oh my gosh, it's near Villa Borghese, and shout out to my professor Borghese. That's the only reason I know how to say that name. It's nice. We were driving in and I saw so many people like on their lunch break, like with their colleagues, probably gonna go to happy hour soon, or maybe it is happy hour time. No, that was definitely lunch. And it's Thursday, so I was just like, oh, I'm seeing people who are like working at like in corporate, which is something I didn't see in Florence. I think Florence is just like very touristy and it's gorgeous, and like you have Tuscany and you can do like the wine country Chianti. I'm so annoying with this. I remember I kept asking him, just like, what do people do here? Like Florentines, like if you're not involved in the tourism industry, like do you have a place in Florence? So it's nice to be in Rome where it's like clear that it's a little bit more metropolitan, and like people are definitely like involved in the tourism industry, but also like are working like corporate jobs and, you know, clocking in finance, 6'5", blue-eyed. Ugh. But yeah, so I was kind of not sure if like a solo trip should have been in my cards right now, but as we were driving into Rome, I was just like, I've forgotten how much I really enjoyed the city. And you guys, I feel like I probably talked about this a lot on here, but it was literally the first city where I traveled internationally without my family. I traveled before like internationally with my family, but this was like the first time, and it was very like, I think I was 17, and so it was just very like coming of age, like felt that little taste of freedom with like the beautiful landscape of like Rome and the ancient ruins. It has such a place in my heart. I think this is probably how people feel about like Paris or something like that, but for me it's Rome, and it just, I feel at ease, even though it can be hectic and you're like trying not to get pickpocketed and things like that. I enjoy life so much when I'm in Italy, and I would say Spain as well, but there's something about Italy, maybe it's because I just don't understand language, and it's like one of the things that I really, really want to do. So you heard it here first, we're learning Italian. I kind of want to come here again next summer, and I've decided like I want to do like holiday in Capri or Cinque Terre. I just want to do one of those, like a little bit more beachy, maybe not in the dead of summer, but I want that, and maybe the Dolomites, which is like up north, the mountains. So yeah, I want to come back here, and my goal is the fourth time I'm in this country, I should speak some Italian. So that's my goal, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm gonna check for bed bugs, give you a tour of the room, because I haven't really walked through it, and then we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do, because it's 3 p.m. so I feel like it's a little late to be like starting my day. There's a Patagonia across the street. That's wild. Now, why would you do that? Yeah, we're gonna get a vibe. We're gonna do a little something. I don't know what that something is, whether it's a drink, a stroll around here, probably a little too late for shopping, but definitely want to eat something, walk around, maybe go to the park for a bit. Okay, we know what we have to do here. This is the bed. We're checking for bed bugs. If you don't already do this, you need to start. It's unfortunate because this looks so nice and pristine. Guys, I get so nervous about this. I just don't want to bring anything back to the States with me. Just so you guys know, like what you're looking for when you do this is you're looking for any like droplets of blood. So it's gross if you find any. I have never found one. I'm so nervous, guys. Okay, well, this seems so clean, but I have to do it. It's the only thing that'll give me peace of mind. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. No bed bugs tonight. there was one hotel that I was considering in Florence that the reviews said they had a bed bug problem. And so it's really stressed me out. Okay, let's do the tour. Let's do it. Okay, we walk in. This place is so trendy. You see this, like the open air closet. I actually don't like that. It looks like it just adds clutter, but whatever. And we walk in, and then this is the room. So here's one thing that I really like about this hotel is, maybe it has been a thing in Italy, but I've never traveled alone to Italy before. I've always been with a group. This is my first time, but this, as well as one of the hotels I was considering in Florence, had like single rooms. So like a tiny, tiny bed for one person. Like they won't let two people book it. I remember thinking, oh, I love that, because a lot of times when I travel by myself, I'm getting a room for that like two people can fit in, but maybe they give you a slight discount because you're one person, you might not use up as much towels and things like that, but it's like $10 or something like that. And I actually really like that, because anyone who knows me knows I just cannot do hostels. I think it's just, maybe I've heard too many like horror stories, but yeah, so tiny, tiny bed, but it's gonna work. I don't mind it. So we have the phone here. And then on the other bedside, and we have some book. They have the food of the Italian islands. I think I've seen this before, actually. I don't know how or where. Maybe this is popular. So you have a little sitting area, which is nice. You've got like, the drink station. And then the bathroom. And then here's the mirror. I love the shower. Cute. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so fragile. I don't know if I got sick at the wedding or if it's just like my body breaking down, because I had so many late nights in London and in Florence with my friends. I did make myself a cup of tea. I went to dinner today. I went to this place called Pinsere, and apparently there's a group of Romans, I'm not really sure. There's a group of Italians who believe that Pinsere is the godfather or grandfather of pizza. Like before there was pizza, there was this thing called Pinsere. It's like a flatbread with like cheese, so it like looks like a pizza. The flavors were so random. I think I had ham, cheese, and pumpkin. One thing that I realized is like there are certain communities where it is kind of weird to go to dinner by yourself. And I think Italy is one of those. It's like very family oriented. Like people like to eat dinner with their coworkers, with their friends, with their family. People aren't really going out to eat by themselves. It's just like a weird vibe. People pity you in a sense if like you're Italian and eating by yourself, just because of the culture, or they know immediately that you're not Italian, because if you were Italian, you wouldn't be eating by yourself. But like, I think we should all eat by ourselves every now and then. While I was there were like some people finishing up, and the looks I got, I sat next to these two women who were there, like, I guess like kikiing, and they kept looking at me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if you want attention, go places solo. Like, I don't know what it is. And it's interesting because at first I thought it was like, oh my gosh, like I had something on my face, like the first time I ever solo traveled and noticed that people were like looking at me. And if you have conversations with people, like while you're solo traveling, some people will be honest and say like, oh, it's just like something that we're not used to here. And if anything, I was looking at you because like, I think it's so brave. Like I could never do that. And so just after a while you get used to like the stares. But yeah, I got that, and then I went to get gelato, which might have been the best gelato that I've ever had. What was it called? Come il latte, eat milk. Or maybe it's like got milk. And then I walked back to the hotel because I do want to get a good night's sleep, because I need to sleep off this cold or whatever's coming on. Grossly underestimated how hot it is. I'm burning. Oh my gosh. Gorgeous day, gorgeous backdrop, but I'm burning up. presentable in this country. 10 euros for bruschetta, the first course, dessert, and like water and coffee. And so it's a tiny place, and I wish I'd come here like a little bit earlier. Table outside, and it's actually really hot out, but in this particular area it's kind of like breezy, not too bad. It's in the shade, so highly recommend. And there's like this really cute like luxury consignment store that's maybe like a block away on this corner, actually, so it's not a block away. And I went in there because I had to wait like maybe 10 minutes, and they had like cute stuff, so I think I'm gonna go after and shop a bit. I'm gonna go on a little, not rant, but soliloquy. But I have been vlogging a bit on this trip, and I remember that a few years ago when I lived in Barcelona, I was so conscious about it because I felt like I didn't want to like stick out, because I also was trying to like be a local because I spoke Spanish. But here I feel like it's like something about me, and maybe the aura, I don't know, maybe the way I dress, like people automatically know that I don't speak Italian, so it's very much like hello, hi, not buongiorno. Which makes me feel like the hotel owner was lying when he said that I said buongiorno like Italian. But here it's been like so obvious that I'm not, and there's something liberating about it. I think it's maybe the bright colors, but there is something kind of like liberating about it. Oh, where was I? So I feel like there's something liberating about the fact that like I feel like I get a lot of looks. Like I feel like a young woman, pretty in Italy. Like people look at you. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but people are already looking, and so I think there's something liberating in the sense that like, I mean, don't go around with like your most expensive equipment and like hold it out and stop paying attention, because like someone might just snatch it out of your hand. But I'm also in a pretty residential area. I've seen a lot more just like people who are working and like taking the day off, or going to lunch with like their coworkers. It's like the streets are so quiet because it's not like we're like maybe a 40-minute walk from the Trevi Fountain and all of those like sites. So it just, I don't know, it feels kind of chill, and I feel like I don't feel as conscious here. Like obviously I'm gonna go to the Trevi Fountain later tonight, and so maybe by then I'll be like a little bit more guarded and like with my head on a swivel. I think the only reason that I feel kind of like chill about not being as regimented about what I'm doing here is because I came into this being like, this is my kind of like eating trip, very eat, pray, love, but like focus on the eating. And so as long as I'm like trying out new places and like having like memorable dinners and gelatos, then I don't feel as bad. And you can only eat like 3, 4, 5 times a day. So as long as I'm not like skipping meals because I'm tired and sick, then I feel a lot better. Honestly, I need to stop doing this because I can't see when someone's walking behind me. Let's try this. Oh my gosh. What he said. Okay, I'm so sorry. No, you can't get any. This is not next to me. Hi. I'm so sorry. Oh, let me open this up. No, it's too bright. I fear that my entire vlog will take place from this chair. But guys, when I tell you it is hot in Rome, I'm not joking. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but I am melting in a way that I can't recall ever melting like this. Also, I was just in the hotel lobby and I saw some cute, okay, here's how I feel about dating when you're abroad as a tourist. People look at you, depending on how long you're there for. I don't think I've flirted in different countries, but I've only dated seriously when I was in a place for a long time, i.e. Spain. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like my head doesn't turn just because a guy looks put together and cute. I need to know that you're ambitious. We can hold a conversation. But here's how I feel about the people I just saw in the lobby. they were clearly coming in from work, happy hour, which strange time to be having at happy hour. It's like 4 p.m. But it's also Friday, so summer hours. And they were having a nice little drink together. Maybe I'll go down there for a drink before dinner. And I was like, oh, what's up? I did not. I just went upstairs because I feel so gross. So everyone who's in Rome, touristing around the city, prancing about, shout out to you guys because you must have an internal air conditioning system in your clothes. So I went to lunch. I ended up going back to that consignment store, vintage store, afterwards. One thing I would always recommend if you go to a store, especially a place where it's the person clearly, it's a smaller store, the person clearly knows every item because this is her job, so she personally buys everything, I think. So I just started asking her, like, I know that this is my size in Italy, but I'm not seeing a lot of things in my size, or I'm not seeing the size in general. Like, what do you think would work? Because I think, like, it's one thing to just peruse, and then another thing to be like, this is what I'm seeing that I like, but I just don't know if it'll fit. I asked her about this dress, or there was a skirt, it was a Stella McCartney skirt, and it looked like it could be a dress because right now I'm wearing a dress or a skirt that I've turned into a dress. We ended up chatting for a while in that store about Italian culture, which I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to like talk. But basically what she was saying is that, so when I asked her about that dress that was actually just a skirt, and she said it in the nicest way possible. She was like, it's very tight on the waist. Basically like, it doesn't give. And then she basically was like, oh, you've actually have given me some inspiration. You've inspired me. She had this dress. I'm going to talk about it first and I'm going to show it. So she had this dress. It was actually a skirt from Prada. So now I have my first Prada item. Bought it secondhand. But this dress, she knows. This is why it's nice to go to a consignment store where people clearly love fashion and know the history of fashion, because sometimes you talk to people and they're just selling it, but they're not as interested in the trends. And basically it's a skirt, it's a skirt from Prada from one of their collections a while ago where they did a collection featuring Rome and Venice. And so this is like, imagine this as a skirt, it's like a pencil skirt. And she was like, you've inspired me, asking about that skirt, asking if that skirt was a dress inspired her to show me the skirt that she was like, this might fit as a dress. Like, it'll be a little loose and you can and I was like, maybe I can tailor it depending on how I want it to fit. And it's a very Italian design because this one is from their Venice collection. I have to look this up because I'm actually quite curious. And they have like little depictions of Venice. Like you see the gondola here. And I've been to Venice, so it's like I didn't go on this trip, but like you have all of these depictions of Venice, and she had one of something from that collection, but it was for Rome because she's from Rome. And so I saw this, I tried this on, and I loved it. I'll show you guys later. I don't want to put anything on my sweaty body. It was just such a nice experience, and I don't think I go to countries and just like start buying up a storm, but I'm not opposed to buying, but like I don't need to buy things. Like there have been trips I've taken where I haven't gotten one souvenir because nothing spoke to me, and I honestly thought like I was gonna walk away with like a journal for this trip because I've already been to Rome so many times. But I walked in and I just saw this and it spoke to me and I got it, and now I have my first Prada item, and it's a it's actually sad because I do feel like luxury is feeling a little bit inaccessible lately because of like the prices going up, and same thing with luxury consignments, like going up and up and up. So yeah, gorgeous dress / skirt. I wouldn't wear this as a skirt. I don't like the length as a skirt, but it's like a cute mini dress, and it's very summer. It's a lightweight, great for summer. So I'm so happy that I got this. And the owner, Georgia, is literally like so fun to speak with. She speaks Italian and she speaks English because I think she worked in London for a bit. She lived in London, and I mean, there are times when I was like, I'm speaking a little too fast for her. I can tell, as someone who has learned a different language, and their facial expressions like you tend to make when you're like really listening. And I felt like at some point I was talking a little too fast, but she was honestly like the best. And we talked about just style in Rome in general. Like yesterday too, and this morning I was looking out. I just noticed that a lot of the women were just wearing black or white. It was interesting because for some reason I had this idea that Rome, like Italy as a country is so colorful. The last few times I was here, I didn't really notice it because I was like with my friends. And so I wasn't paying attention because like you're having conversations with your friends, you're not looking at what people are wearing. You just aren't paying attention. But like when you're by yourself, like you can really people watch. And so I was people watching and I just noticed that I didn't see a ton of color. And I mean, I'm wearing like the brightest orange dress today. This is actually, it's the opposite of what I expected. And she was basically saying that like maybe it has something to do with like the Roman Catholic influence on the city because, you know, the Vatican's right there. I think a lot of people are still quite religious in a way and no one wants to put like the spotlight on themselves. But it's just so interesting because like you think of like a Dolce & Gabbana, tons of prints, lots of color, but that grew out of Sicily, which is like southern Italy. And so it's just interesting. Like I knew like the different regions had unique cultures because at one point Italy was quite split up and they weren't like unified. So they were kind of like warring with each other. I knew that that was the case, but I didn't realize that when we think about like Italians being like so warm and friendly, that might be more Southern Italians. And when we think fashionable, it might be Milan and parts of Sicily where like Dolce & Gabbana grew out of. So it's just, I don't know, I just love this part of like traveling and just noticing what people are doing in like different cultures and things like that. Mamma mia, it's the last day, and I'm not appropriating that. I've heard multiple people say it that way. I received it in a hola mami type way. That's the closest way I can describe it. And I've also received it in a, like, I can't believe this, like in a mean way. So, that's a story time for another time. It's like, I feel like I have the energy to do a couple of things and then I need to chill. And not the kind of chill where you just sit and like drink yourself to a stupor or into a stupor. Because I have to keep my wits about me. That's another thing about, you know, like when you solo travel, like I can't be like lit all the time, which is why I'm glad I'm staying at this hotel that has a nice bar, because I think after dinner I might, you know, go to the hotel bar for like a little nightcap. I need to go pick up a nasal spray because I don't know if you can tell, like I sound quite like nasally. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say this, but I did a cooking class today. It was actually quite fun. We did cacio e pepe, which I realized I was making such like an Americanized Japanese Italian version of that. I knew that, but apparently you're not supposed to use butter. No butter. Turns into an Alfredo. And when he said that, I was so offended. I was like, you're telling me I've been eating Alfredo sauce? It's very different. Alfredo's different. But we did that and add a spicy tomato sauce or an arrabbiata with fettuccine. The cacio e pepe was with spaghetti, and then we made ravioli. And so that was my first time making handmade pasta and like from scratch. And it was a lot of fun, and like the group was fun.
Buonasera, cerco spray nasale, come questo.
Buonasera, cerco spray nasale come questo. I secured the nasal spray. I did my buonasera. I actually had this specific one on my phone. I don't know if this is like the typical Italian brand that's a nasal spray, but I walked in and I was like buonasera, and they were like ciao. I don't know if they called me ragazza. So I've noticed some people do call me that. It depends on like how like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed I walk in. Anyways, so I walk in and I do my little spiel, like, you know, I was studying from Google Translate, and my little cerco spray nasale come questo, and I had a photo of this actually on my phone. The buonasera got me into the door. I mean, it was open aired. I mean, anyone could have gotten into the door, but it got me into the let's speak Italian to her. And they, you know, smiling, and then they gave me a thank you at the end. I know everyone thinks that they're doing me a favor. I actually don't feel great when that happens. I feel like you're telling me my pronunciation was terrible. I feel like I'm actually trying to like get the accent down correctly. Like the other day I was like, oh, I'm going to Giano, and the local was like Giano, and I was like, okay, Giano. So I feel like because I'm trying to like figure it out, it breaks my heart when they basically tell me those couple of sentences you said wouldn't pass for an Italian. Oh my gosh, this is strong. This is the best nasal spray I've ever had. No wonder they keep it behind the counter. I think this has menthol or something. Oh my gosh. This is dangerous. Okay, we're gonna touch up the face a little bit. My pre-gaming dinner. This was wine that Sophie, my friend Sophia, who got married, they had like a welcome box, and they had wine, some biscotti, some like these cheese crackers I think paired well with the wine. I think that's the only lyric I know. Oh, I should be out, but I don't trust Roman men right now because I can't speak the language. I feel like a true test of whether I can go out is if I can say the equivalent of like, no me toques. Don't touch me. And it has to come naturally even when I'm angry, because I feel like when I'm angry, I revert to English. I'm gonna be so bronzed. And I can't. Still don't know the lyrics yet. Okay, let me not be drunk. Oh my god, I love traveling. What's in my bag? Solo travel edition, pepper spray. I do want to take this book. I saw this meme that was like the most embarrassing thing you can do is be on like page 5 of a book in public. And I'm currently on page 0, epilogue, prologue. Sorry. The wine's getting to me. So I'm reading the Borgias. I actually have not cracked this open. I almost brought the Medici book with me. You guys know I'm reading that. But the only reason I didn't was because I felt like this older Italian woman is like, who is she talking to? One of the apartments above. But the only reason I didn't bring it with me is because I felt like I wanted to read it after going to Florence. I wanted to finish it after going to Florence and like feeling the magic of Florence and maybe going to one of like the mausoleum with like all of their jewels and belongings, but I ended up not doing that. So yeah, I'll bring this to dinner. Maybe I'll read it during dinner. I have not been reading during dinner. I haven't felt the need to, because it's so interesting. Like in other countries, because I sit at the bar, I can like chat with anyone. I feel like I've had such like amazing conversations, but I don't think, like I said before, like I don't think Rome is a place for that. But I've just noticed that this is just not the place for it, and that's okay. It just, you don't know till you go, right? Like I would much rather not like assume that it would have been one way and then just not come, because I love the city. It's like I wish I spoke more Italian. Like it's just, I'm at such a basic level and I really want to like study up, and then the reward for studying up will be like a trip to Capri or like Sicily, and just like and then obviously stopping over probably in Rome on the way there. So I don't know, that's just my thought. And also this is like the first, I really thought I was going to go to the Trevi Fountain, but I haven't been moved to go, maybe because it's like high season for tourism. And the first time I came to Rome, it was like it was in the middle of summer. I think it was June. It was so packed, the Trevi Fountain, and I've seen people post at the Trevi Fountain lately, and it's just like so crowded, so touristy, and I feel like my head would have to be on a swivel, and I feel like that's not how I really want to like experience that. It was fun being there and like having like, I had like a whole camera crew like watching out for my things, like the people I was with like watching out for my things. I remember we were guarding our bags because it was just so crowded. Like it's so easy for someone to pickpocket you, and I just feel like that's not like the vibe I want right now. I don't want to be stressed, you know. because I've stayed in a residential area and literally just been around here, maybe like taxied a few places that are a little further out, I haven't felt that stress of like, let me guard my things. Yeah, it's interesting when you've come to a place so many times, how you can feel comfortable like missing out on like going to a monument again. And I feel like that's kind of like how a local feels. They don't need to go to the Trevi Fountain every day. Not that I'm a local. Not me calling myself a local. Ew. She's ready for a night out. I scarfed that down. I feel like a child. My fingers are so sticky. It's actually kind of gross. That was honestly the best way to end my time here. As you've seen, like I got my gelato, the messiest thing I've ever had. Like my hands were so sticky like a child. And then went to Ristorante Tullio, and that was actually a lot better than I expected. The portion sizes there, I thought I was gonna have room for dessert. No room for dessert. I want to go back. I don't know how to describe it, but I thought like when they had the lights out when I was walking, I was just like, oh no, like this is a tourist trap. All the reviews mentioned that it wasn't. It was the opposite. Like tourists who went there were like the only tourists there. When I got there, maybe because it's like summer and people are probably reading the same blogs as I am, everyone was a tourist in my little group, but I think they probably had a separate room, which I feel like I heard more Italian being spoken, so like maybe they separate us, I don't know. Anyways, that's it for the vlog. Another solo trip that's been successful. We had our ups and downs, but I'm really happy that I came here and I can't wait for the next one. Do I want to have a different experience in Italy? Like I would love to come here with my family. I don't think we have. No, I haven't come to Italy with my family and I feel like they would really enjoy it. I don't know if I could do the touristy stuff with them again. I think we'd all go crazy if I did, but I would love to come with my family. And that is all she wrote. Buongiorno. Grazie. Oh, that was so loud.